Down now by 6, the Bills came roaring back on the passing of Ferguson to number 89, Lou Piccone. Piccone is an interesting story. Having been deemed expendable by the Jets, the 30-year-old vet from West Liberty State College has found a home in Buffalo. This season, he's replaced injury-prone Bob Chandler and has shocked everyone by averaging nearly 17 yards a catch. Here, Ferguson escaped to find Piccone for 22 yards. On the day, he would catch 3 for a total of 60 yards receiving.
Well, somebody had asked me one time, they said, you know, you're really lucky. And I said, what do you mean, lucky? He said, oh, you know, the Lou's, they chant your name. I said, that luck ain't got nothing to do with it. I said, because you see, Lou can turn to boo really quick. All right, all you got to do is put a few on the ground or drop a punt or something like that or miss a tackle. And those things start to swell just like the Lou did. You get booed, and then if you get booed, you're out of here.
He's a young family member, and they pick up a football card of Lou Piccone. They say, here, you know, Dad, tell me about your career.
If you take a look at that football card, I've got 4 of them. Okay, that means that you've made it.
Mm-hmm. The ultimate calling card.
Okay, and if you have 4, that means, if you have 1, that means you made it. If you have 4, that means you stayed there for a while. And it's one thing to make it, and it's another thing to stay. And to stay, you have to be progressive, you have to be resilient, you have to be, certainly be professional and be able to meet the standards and the demands of the game. And that took a lot. That took a lot for me. So I guess people like to look at me and say I'm an overachiever because of my size and things of that nature. You know, well, I'm an overworker. You know, I worked hard, very hard to get there, very hard to stay there, and I mastered my game. And the reason I say that is because they could put me anywhere, and I just simply made things happen.
Back at the Buffalo 14, a high snap from center, and he gets it away. A wobbly kick. Matthews going to fumble it. It is open. Let's see who's got it. Buffalo. Buffalo recovers the fumble. Lou Piccone picks it up at the 37-yard line of Ocean. Ira Matthews fumbled. Piccone recovered. The ball lay open, uncovered at the 37-yard line, and Lou picked it up. Piccone right around that ball, and when it went right through the arms of Matthews, Piccone beat him to it. Heads up, Van, he's turned the tide the other way.
And I think that I think the challenge and the overcoming was also part of my makeup, and it also kept me enthused and kept the passion, and of course it pissed me off all the time, you know, but that's all part of it, you know. I thought maybe they pissed me off because they figured that they motivated me that way. You know, it's the takeaway clothes, you know. But you know, all in all, the bottom line is that for any young kid looking at me in a football card, that I would say that anything is possible if you really have a passion for it and you pursue it. And that's really the bottom line of my career. Eddie's a big dude, right? And it was the game before the playoffs. Before the strikes. We started a strike in '82. And I was having a tough day. Doing a crossing pattern. Fergie sees me, and he throws it, and he hung it up. On the other end of the field was a guy named Spaney, and he was about 245, 50 pounds. Caught me on a dead run, stretched out up in the air like that, hit me in the chest and drove me into the turf with his helmet and blew off 3 rib heads and cracked 2 on the right. And I'm laying there with my mouth open, and you could hear the stand go, "Oh!" Now I'm almost unconscious, but not quite. Okay, so you know Eddie's on the sideline. He sees the lick, and Eddie and Bud Tice, and he sees the lick, and you know I'm laying there, and my mouth is wide open, and Eddie and Bud finally arrive, and Bud looks at Eddie, and Eddie looks at Bud, and he says he's turning blue. He said, no shit. I said, it's been 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and I haven't taken a breath yet. And then Eddie says to Bud, Bud, we're going to have to trach him. Get the trach kit. And I said to myself, no, you ain't traking my ass. I said, I'm sorry. And then I went, I sucked the air out of the stadium, And but Eddie Abe had been through all of it. I mean, there ain't nothing he ain't seen. There's not a player he didn't know about, and he knew the players from the non-players and all of that. But that was one that I'll never forget, because when he said he was going to trach me, I said, no, you're not. A unique OJ story. When I first got here, I got traded. I had an Achilles problem, okay? And they traded me coming off of it. And I had one game to make the team, and it was the Minnesota game, a Minnesota preseason game. Well, I didn't even get out to play, but the juice was on the sidelines, and they put me out, to return a kickoff. And they kicked it off, didn't return the ball at all, but as I was coming off the field, remember Rocky Bullwinkle? Okay? The Rocky Bullwinkle crowd. Well, as I'm coming off, you hear this little section going, yeah, Lou. Well, there ain't nobody doing Lou's, it's juice. And so as I'm running off the field, I see this, I hear this little faction going, Lou, and Juice is looking at me and saying, like, the fuck are you, kid? It's fun to revisit. Revisit things, and especially when you got, when you're honoring a guy like, Van, and we had the opportunity, my wife and I had the opportunity of spending hours in the post game when Van and Gloria had that. They used to have the tailgates over there at one corner, and we used to go there after the game, and they were so gracious as to invite us over, and we always used to have a marvelous time after the game, and to see a fellow athletic supporter like Van, and get the just dues, because he's in the Hall of Fame, he's in the Buffalo Hall of Fame, and now he's going on the Wall of Fame. He's in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame, so I think he's got the trifecta now. Yep. And it's just a pleasure to be here, and just to our guys are such great people, and I hope that the current players understand the responsibilities that they have to the community. I'm the 70s, cusp 80s, and it's sort of sometimes you get forgotten. When they talk about the Bills, they talk about the Kelly eras, and then they talk about the 64, 65, and Knox eras wasn't that bad. Yeah. Of course, in that Saban area, that the 1 or 2 years there wasn't that bad. So there are those other caveats in the Bills' history that had, I would say, some pretty glorious results.
Well, you alone almost precipitated. You came that close to the playoffs.
And I was right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the Cincinnati game.
I do.
And there was a ball that was caught by me on a third down conversion I went from hero to 0 in 30 seconds. Now I say that because 0, that was the last play that ever meant anything in my career. And if that counts and we get that first down, we go in and score. We win that ball game, we go play San Francisco, not Cincinnati. Right. And so all those things that you were working on, now you become a Super Bowl champion, that changes the dynamic of your life. It's just the luck of the draw.
Exactly.
And who's responsible, whatever, that's old news, and you never can get it back, and that's part of whatever it was, and that's history. Yeah.
Well, you're a big part of Buffalo Bills history, Lou, so thank you.
Well, good. I'm just glad to be here.
Great.
Ira Matthews fumbled. Piccone recovered.